All right, it's super late. I'm only gonna get a couple minutes in today. Let's try to see if we can get our taxi to move and have gravity, because right now it's just there. So we're gonna have to apply gravity, which means we have to update our Y position. We're gonna say our current Y gets updated to be it's Y plus gravity, I think. Let's see how gravity functions for our vulture here. We control find gravity. We get gravity scaled by delta time. So yeah, we just take delta time, multiply it by gravity. We actually give a delta y instead of updating just y. So we say our y gets updated by our delta y, and then we say our dy is actually getting scaled by gravity, or yeah, modified by gravity. So we're gonna say the same logic because we need to add our jumps, so we would need a delta y. So we're gonna say our self delta y, which starts off as 0, I guess. We need to give ourselves delta y so we can modify it. And we're going to say self delta y gets current delta y plus gravity times delta time. Then we're going to update our y with our delta y. Since gravity is positive, that will move us downwards every frame. Booyah! So he just falls through because we've got to do collision detection. So and the tricky thing here is we need collision detection for platforms, both on the bottom and the sides and the top, because the thing's gonna be able to jump. So if something happens to it, it needs to be able to bounce off the top. If, you know, I don't know if it bounces off another. Well, actually, they taxis don't interact with vultures, or player for that matter. It just runs and gets the jockey, unless the jockey is gotten. So, we need to add collision detection. So I guess if we take a look at our vulture, we can just copy and paste a, see, and I don't like, anytime you say copy and paste, it's like reusing stuff. So it's like, were we supposed to make a overall collision detection logic for, I don't know. Anyways, let's go to, we need to copy a bottom collides, a top collides. Oops. We need, yeah, we'll need check grounded. Because that's how we determine whether or not to apply gravity. But then again, the taxi's AI is kind of just like spawn, go towards the jockey, and then jump as needed, I guess. So, well, yeah, I guess in that case we would need check grounded. We're gonna have to test, look at the original and see how they handle it. If the taxi can walk or not, because that's kind of what I'm thinking. But we need bottom collides, we need right collides, left collides. We definitely need those. Dude. So, in our taxi, before our update function, I'm going to paste these functions, and instead of vulture, it's on a taxi object. So now we have a taxi bottom collides, a taxi right collides, and a taxi left collides. So let's just see if we can get our taxi bottom collides with any given platform to see, and what do we do? Do we do it here in the update function for the taxi, and we cycle through all of our platforms? We say for KV in pairs collidable platforms, we cycle through all our collidable platforms, and we're going to say if our current self bottom collides, right? Bottom collides with, we want platform, but that would mean we need to change this to platforms because this is the value, which is going to be a platform object in the collidable platforms table. So we say if we bottom collide with a platform, then we need to take our y and actually set it to be equal to the collidable platform y, which is platform.y, shifted by our own height. Now, if that works as expected, as soon as we hit a bottom platform, you know, that middle platform, as soon as we fall on that, we should just stand on it. Fuck yeah. So what's happening right now is I was going to say what's happening right now is it's applying gravity every single frame, even though it's that's weird. I don't know why it would suddenly fall like that, but that's why we have the check grounded function, because we don't apply gravity if we're not grounded. I mean, right now we're applying gravity regardless. We're applying gravity every single frame, even when it bottom collides. So, I mean, we can say only... I don't know what to do with that. Like, do we apply gravity here in... No. Or like, you know, if it bottom collides else, meaning no bottom collision, that's when we update our delta y. Would that fix our flying through the bottom problem? But see, I don't know if I want to do that, because, oh my god, okay. Yeah. So we had I don't know why it falls through the bottom. My only guess is that delta y gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, see, we're never changing our delta y. So our delta y, or if we were to print up our delta y, it would just keep getting bigger. So we can say print dy as a string, and then concatenate that with a string version of our self.dy, because I think, oh yeah, and we need to do it at 5 pixels in, 5 pixels down. Now delta y should just keep growing, and then look, it passes a certain threshold where it's like, okay, delta y, oh, that's why it falls. It falls because our delta y gets so great that on one frame we apply our delta y, which puts us below the platform, which then a bottom collision doesn't trigger. Then it just sends us flying through the bottom. So we need to say, hey, if we bottom collide, then guess what? Our self dy is 0. So we reset that. It'll still update our dy by gravity every frame, but every time we detect that bottom collision, because we were applied by gravity, making us bottom collide, we'll reset it to 0. So delta y will still get modified, to be a little bit positive every single frame, but it gets reset to 0, and now it shouldn't fall through the freaking floor. Yeah. So we're at least doing that. Let's do one little last thing today. And we're just going to give us a little bit of a dx. So we're going to say our self x gets updated by our current x plus our x velocity. So I'm going to just say, hey, by the way, our dx is going to be 1. I think that's going to be too far. It's going to move fast to the right. Cool. You know, I mean, maybe we do a 0.5, and then maybe we do a when we instantiate it, we just say, where do we do our taxi instantiation? We say here, we can just shift it left another maybe 20 pixels, and then call it a day. So yeah, so now we got it walking. So you know, it wasn't too hard to get those little things, but we still need side collision detection. We still need side collision. We still need probably top collision. No, maybe not top collision. I'm gonna turn off our render now, and then I think I'm just gonna call it a day. At least, you know, we went from a stationary taxi to a taxi that walks. So now, you know, next steps are we have to make it I don't think it can loop side to the screen, side to side. I don't think it can do that. Yeah, I don't think it can do that just yet, or ever, because it kind of just comes on the side of the screen and flies towards the jockey. But we'll have to play the original and see if it can, in weird circumstances, loop around the other side of the screen. I don't know, because it doesn't have collision with vultures or the player, so I think it just beelines it to the jockey. But we'll have to see that. And then yeah. So we need to instantiate it only when there's a jockey, and not only when there's a jockey, but we need to give an index appropriate instantiation of our taxi according to the jockey, so that we can keep track of each one, because it needs to disappear if the jockey's collected, and you know, it'll only spawn the instant that jockey's made, so they have to be tethered together. So we'll have to make sure we add the index to get passed in so that we can instantiate it with a corresponding jockey index. Then we have to add AI to detect where the jockey is and update its, I think Jimmy's pooping in his water bowl again. Update its DX to go heat seek to the jockey, and then we can play the original and see if they can loop side to side on the screen. I don't know if they can. And then we need to do side collision on the platforms, and then we need to worry about the flap logic and all the animation for being in the air and for flapping and for falling, and then collision detection for the jockey. So it's gonna be a you can see why I was like, that's not even the tier system yet to upgrade the Vulture, which is like, that's why I was like putting this off for so long. But I'm gonna get add everything to the staging area with a commit message saying added initial gravity and ground collision for taxi. But the thing is, we need to add, I'm going to git push this to our origin main, and then I'm going to make us a note saying we need to remember to add ground platform collision detection for our taxi, because at the moment we're only cycling through the collidable platforms, but if you remember, our ground platform is not a collidable platform according to our table, because our ground platform is actually going to need to shrink on the different waves. And if I have the same logic for that, we were getting that weird bug where it was just jumping anytime we looped side to side, so I had to make ground platform something different. So we'll keep figuring it out, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for some coding. Thanks for watching. It was a short episode today, probably the shortest one I've ever done, but it's late and I was gonna I mean, I'm only committing to 5 minutes a day, and I almost missed today, but keeping it small like this, I'm just going for that streak, so it's okay. We only did 15 minutes. It's whatever. It's about that consistency, and we got a decent update, so it's whatever. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.